Now a bit of Galenian perspective. Who was Galen? He was the chief physician at Marcus Aurelius' court. And he developed not only the idea of eukrasia, perfect health, dyskrasia, the lack of perfect health, and krasia, the health as in regular balance pertaining to a given individual organism. Now let's move it into the mental maladies, which I call psychospiritual maladies. For example, what is insanity? Psychosis. It is a, let's say, hyperbole of a regularly functioning mind that is in the state of dyskrasia. So certain things happen that are natural psychological phenomena subjectively experienced that are, let's say, imbalanced. Right? Now, why am I talking about psychiatry? I was a prisoner, an inmate of psychiatric hospitals 9 times. Why so? Well, because I didn't fit into the reductionist psychiatrist picture. Having city of the second side, I see the ethereal world, which is quite rare. Having, let's say, astral lava in my head, which are connecting to the audial core in the Broca's area. And in a schizophrenic patient's mind, they create a feedback loop. A feedback loop that is utilizing their own mind to consume their focus and mental energy. Fringe theories, or perhaps certain aspects of the magical, metaphysical, precise, systematic looking at things. So very pretty much of these maladies that psychiatry calls and diagnoses by symptoms, not knowing the etiology, is caused, let's not bring it back to the Middle Ages, by various psychospiritual disbalances. And sure, you can be possessed. Sure, plenty of things can attach to your mind. Astral parasite. Sure, plenty of things are self-generated. Sure, there are neurological disorders. But I assure you that the other side, the astral fauna and flora, the ethereal, may influence the biochemistry, may influence the ionotropic conductivity in the brain. So, it is immeasurable by modern scientific instruments. Therefore, as unproven, they stick to the psychiatric paradigm, medicating people that at times, under this provision, shouldn't be medicated but healed. Now, what is the purpose of medicating people with very, let's say, tough, hard, antipsychotic medication? In order to pacify them so they don't go too crazy, because people in a state of mania are often either aggressive or very estranged and anxious. So, but the main goal of the psychiatry is to buy the psychiatric paradigm. It is the breaking the will of the patient who experiences other subjective or intersubjective things into one neat box of the psychiatric paradigm. And then the symptoms are managed. Etiology unknown. So, you can write absolutely everything in psychiatry. Every single anomaly, every magical experience, every peak experience, every metaphysical, magical, phenomenal experience that is not within the ordinary of what the psychiatrist thinks is the normal will be signed into this book of psychiatry. So once you find yourselves in the prisoner of this fake science, unfortunately, there is a very difficult way out because the drugs they're administering, I've been on like 10 or 11 different drugs, whereupon they decided that I'm drug proof, meaning that none of this shit helped, but it managed to destroy my nervous system. It managed to, let's say, decrease my intelligence from the original genuine levels. It managed to cause plenty of suffering and mental torment, fog, and so on, over my mind. Now, while being drugged and combating with the other side and having oh so much fun in the dark ops, psyops, in the, let's say, magical campaigns that I pursued. At the same time, I needed to learn the tricks of the trade of the other side. Because be sure that the other side may be very vicious at times, and in fact, it may cause delusions of persecution in some patients because they don't know of the source. They have no idea in the current paradigm that there are anomalies, that there are entities that are intelligent on the other side that can communicate and make one life a hell. Now, what happens if someone reports it? Such things that are unbecome of belief to other people. Well, he's relegated to psychiatry. And I assume that every, let's say, yogic master or a magician possessing some skills and seeing other things at the very first stage, he is wrecked in a civilization that doesn't tolerate such magical, shamanic, metaphysical, miraculous skills, and it is pushed into this civilization and bypass safeguard of reality called psychiatry. It's an arm of power. Because not only such people in the past were hunted down by idiotic Judeo-Christian Abrahamic religious systems, but then came the psychiatry. So, for example, if you open up too much in a country of, let's say, Poland, Warsaw, and you start seeing the other side, hearing the other side, I'm not talking about larva, but clairaudins, the ethereal realities, the whole circuses, talking and gabbing and yapping, you can have very intelligent conversations in your mind through your thought, Socratic genius of a sort. And, well, you are short-circuited back into this neat little choice between a religion of imbeciles that used to burn people like us at the stakes, Giordano Bruno, for instance, or psychiatry, another fake science. So you've got two fakes, two blind prisons, religion, psychiatry. Don't expect that you will be understood by society unless you encounter people with similar skills, and I did, who are undiagnosed, as I warned them many times, not to report their skills to psychiatrists. Am I the one to blame for withholding such information? No, those people are thriving, per my advice, and they are having a lot of flourishing accomplishments in their life, both in their jobs, career-wise, relationships, and preserving their magical skills without falling trapped to psychiatric shies or religious bollocks. So, in short, combating at the same time religious bullshit, psychiatric bullshit and paradigm, at the same time combating with the other side, which is intelligent and sometimes may make your life very difficult, causing plenty of ignorance and delusion if you don't know how to play the tricks of the trade and how to play the chess master and charadist yourself. So, and I know what I'm talking about. In the psychiatric hospitals, I've seen plenty of shades of the dead and the half-decaying corpses that were infesting the people's mind. Plenty of illicit connections to their minds. Now, never tell it to a psychiatric patient, right? Because they believe the psychiatrist, and for some it makes the territory easier. They believe they're insane, they believe the mind generates it, there's no outer reality, they take the pill and everything is fine. Unfortunately, the reality is much more brutal and often-wise much more tricky. That is, if you don't know how to move and maneuver around it, avoiding psychiatric religious shies and developing your own Urda Power Hermetica, to a psychiatrist, it's a highly resistant delusional system. But at this stage, you need to play out the game. You know you must play the games of the other side. You know you must have a life and a place to live and a job and whatever it takes to survive. At the same time, you know the psychiatric paradigm and the religious paradigms, and in religious studies, many religious paradigms, many metaphysical schools and ideas, and you start playing the cards yourself. You meet a psychiatrist once. I meet, for example, a psychiatrist once per half a year. Why? Because I want to preserve my protective social umbrella. Society fucks me in the ass, psychiatry fucks me in the ass. I fuck psychiatry in the ass and I deal my own cards. I take a psychiatrist and say, yes, Mr. Psychiatrist, I am delusional. I am sick. Now, sign me off, for example, 30 days of holidays. Huh? Okay, good, Mr. Psychiatrist does. Now I exit the psychiatrist and I see a Sylvan darling a spirit flying by and say, hi, spirit. And then I go back to the psychiatrist and say, no, no, Mr. Psychiatrist, I am delusional, I am sick, and all that crap. And then some fucking priest approaches and says, oh, you don't believe it? I believe in gods, for example. And they say, but you must be devil. I say, go fuck yourself. I have a different paradigm, a different reality structure, which works for me, and it's none of your business. As long as it is non-pathological, and it doesn't cause you suffering, avoid religious crap, avoid psychiatric crap. That is so simple. Otherwise, you'll be medicated to hell and back, or you'll be forced to believe in shies of some Judeo-Christian rats that try to sell you bullshit. And if you see many words that contradict both Judeo-Christian bullshit and psychiatry, and you communicate with those invisible ethereal forces, then either you're a complete lunatic and in a citadel of delusions, as the psychiatrists would say, or a complete antichrist, as the Judeo-Christian piglets would say, or you're a bastard with a CD, like in Hindi times, with the Horusian side, and you're perfectly at ease as a two-headed voodoo doctor, one from the spirits and the gods, communicating with them, ritual ceremonies, magical action, performative action, and so on, and the other head for the humans, so for acquaintances, for friends, for your family, and a little head there for the psychiatric crap, and a little head there for a religious fucking mongrel fanatical on his beliefs. I think that is quite simple. And I arrived at this conclusion after many years of combat with fucking idiots, with the combat of the modern paradigm that may be complete crap. Not back to the Middle Ages, but to a civilization that is disenfranchised of its metaphysics and its true power. And the power that is taken from individuals that may or may not be insane, at the same time possessing skills and miraculous abilities, that nevertheless lock them up in psychiatric crap or hunt them down as witches by religion. I hope this is explained succinctly, because I had enough bullshit from both camps of Judeo-Christian rat believers and psychiatric fucking idiots. Thank you.